Hello friends, it's Tuesday, so time for another fun project. I posted on my Facebook page yesterday to see if y'all had any particular things that you would like for me to demonstrate for you, since we really kind of run the gamut of what I was planning on showing in the beginner series. And there were a few suggestions. So thank you for those of you that commented yesterday. Hi, Paula. Hi, Amy. Thank you for joining. So as I mentioned, we did have a couple suggestions, but there was one that stood out that I really wanted to give a try, especially after I went out and looked at some YouTube videos, and I'm just kind of dragging it out a minute here to see if the person who suggested it hops on. If she doesn't right away, I will be sure and give her credit when she pops on. But Karen Hickam, I know I'm going to say this wrong, Ilsley, commented saying she would love to see me demonstrate a U-card, U-fold card. It's also known as a bench fold card. And it really intrigued me when I saw it. So I don't have a finished project to show you because I just did a quick mock-up yesterday or last night after I'd finished researching it. But I have put some things down here on my mat just as kind of a teaser, because we will be using these in our bench fold card. And I'm going to pair the Animal Outing stamp set with the Tropical Chic bundle. To me, those two just belong together. And the bench fold card is really going to lend itself well to using both of them. So let's get started. I'll just pull these out of the way, put them off to the side. And the video that really helped me a lot yesterday, there were a lot of them out there on YouTube, but a lot of them were for 5x7 cards. And since I don't know that many people locally, I end up mailing most of mine out. So I did find one that was for an A2 size card. And the person whose channel it's on is May May Made It. And I've been watching May May, oh gosh, ever since I got into crafting 2 years ago. So be sure and go out and give her channel a look if you ever need just some inspiration or some ideas. And she's very fun to watch. But this will be A2, like I mentioned. So we're going to start out with 3 pieces of Whisper White. And this is going to form the base of our card. We have one that is 8 inches long by 4 1/4 inches wide. And then for our bench, we have a piece that's 5 1/2 inches wide by 2 1/2 inches. And then we have to support our bench so that it doesn't keep falling through. So we'll use a brace. We'll make a brace out of this piece of Whisper White that is 4 inches by 1 1/4 inches. All right. Now, before I start doing any scoring and folding, because I'm not using any DSP tonight, surprise, surprise, I do want to at least stamp a bit of a pattern on the card base. So for that, I'm going to bring in my broadleaf, or my fern leaf, I should say, from the Tropical Chic set. And I'll be using Pear Pizzazz as my color. And let me just bring in some scratch paper here because I'm going to do it full strength, and I'm also going to stamp it off. So we'll just put that down, take my name out of the way, and we'll have some fun. And I mainly want my pattern to be on this edge and this edge, but I am going to continue it towards the middle. Our rhino is going to sit right in the center, and I want to give him something behind him, and that will give our card some depth. So some of this I'm going to stamp full strength, and some of it I'm going to stamp off. And let me just double check here. Yep, so that's full strength and that's stamped off. And the ones that are stamped off are going to look further in the background. So I'll just pick some areas, do one there, and then I'll do my stamped off there. And maybe we'll do another one here. And I'll do a stamped off coming to the inside. So really, there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm doing this. I just want to get some of these leaves to go in a pattern. And I might even do one more that's even more stamped off. So I've got, these are the areas that you're going to see the most. I do want to do a couple on the inside, but I'm going to stamp those off because, as I mentioned, we want there to be some background behind our little rhino. Now I don't have to worry about this bottom part here very much because that's going to be our bench area. So I think I'm just going to put one more on here just to fill in this area right there. And now I've got a nice little jungle scene going on. So I'll put this away. We shouldn't need it anymore. Close up my ink. And now I'll bring in the scoreboard and we'll get to scoring all three of our pieces. So the biggest piece, which is going to be our base of our card, I've got the pattern side up. I have the 8-inch edge along the top, and I'm going to make 4 different scores on it. So I'm going to score at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4. Be careful, that's where I messed up last night. All right, and that's all the scoring we need to do on the card base. Now we'll bring in the bench part, and with the long edge at the top, sorry, wrong, with the long edge going down, we need to score at 1 1/4. And that's because we're going to be folding this over. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. And I'm only going to score from the top down to that score line, which is now running horizontally. Bring that down so hopefully you can see it better. And we're going to score this at 1 1/4, just down to that line. And then we're going to score it at 4 1/4. Again, just down to that center line. All right. See if you might be able to see it better from the back. Nope, from the front. There, I think you can see it. But we're going to be cutting away this edge, and this will then form our flap that folds in. Hence, that's why it's called a bench card. We do need a brace for it, and I've brought in that piece that's 4 by 1 1/4, and this is really simple. We're just going to score at 1/2 inch, and then we're going to score at 3 1/2 inches. So I'm doing a 1/2 inch in from either side, and that's all the scoring we need to do. Now we can fold and burnish. And with your base, because it's forming that U shape, you want this to come. So my second one, I'm folding in. And then that first one, I'm folding out. And that's what's going to form my U. So let me give those a good burnish. We do want crisp edges on it. And we'll do the same. So the most center fold gets folded in towards you. and then the outer fold gets folded out. So it's really, what would you call it? An accordion fold. Hi, Lori. Hi, Lee. Thanks, ladies, for joining. And there we have our U, just like that. Okay, put that aside for a moment. Let's work on our bench piece. So I do want to fold that, give it a nice crease, and then I have these other score marks really just as a guide because I'm going to cut those away. So I want to take out that score line so I don't get any lumpy bumpies on either side. I've got my lights on, shining right on it. It's a little hard sometimes for me to see, but there we go. You'll end up with a piece that looks like this, and this is actually going to be our bench. And I did not cut out my score lines on both sides. I can see that because of this little bump right there. So let me just take care of that real fast. Like I said, I want those score lines gone so that I don't end up with any bulk there. I want my bench to be able to fold back easily. Close that down so I can see it. Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. There we go. Have to hold it at just the right angle. And clip that right there. And there we have it. And then we don't have any cutting away to do with this, but I do need to fold and burnish because we need those little flaps to attach it to the card base. And this is how it's basically going to go together, just like this. And as you can see, that flap would just collapse too much. So we're going to take our brace and insert it in there to help hold it up. I did want to do a little decorating on my bench part. And I found the back side of one of my Petal Promenade DSPs was really pretty and kind of reminded me of sandy dirt. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that to my flap, just like that. So I'll bring in my liquid glue. And just glue it down. I'm going to stand this up so I can make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. And give it a good press. Now I'm ready to put on my last piece. And I want to butt this right up against so that there's no white showing. So I'm just going to slide it up there as high as I can get it. Just like that. Perfect. All right. I think when I put these together, I really liked the way that looked. Okay, but before we attach that, we need to go ahead and put our brace on. And this is really easy. I'm going to open it up starting from this side first. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the flap. And then I'm going to butt it up right against that fold, lining it up at the bottom. And then I can just fold this over and press it down. And now what you can see is that's going to go ahead and support it. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I've opened it back out. I'm going to put some glue on this flap. I have it butted right up against that fold. And I'm just going to lay it down and press it down. Now, if you do that, and when you put it together, you see there might be that little bow. Mamie had a good tip on how to get rid of that. Just collapse it, and you can see over here, I then can re-burnish that going outwards, and then repeat the same on the other side. Here, I don't know if you can see, but see how it's got that little gap there? Just go in and re-burnish those fold lines. And now when I stand it up, it's nice and flat. And that's our brace. This is going to fit just like that. And now, because that brace is there, it prevents the flap from collapsing. Except I did that upside down, didn't I? Did you guys notice that? I've got all my decoration at the bottom. So tell you what, we're going to, I got to have a couple of little leaves at the top. And yes, I still can go in and I can add some decoration. I just have to be a little more careful. So let me do that real quick. And these I want to make faint. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp off. And then being very careful, I'm just going to put a few of these on there. Whew, there we go. Just wanted a little bit of background. So all is not lost if you're like me and you do it upside down. The other thing I noticed before I put this flap on, I have a little bit of overhang of my DSP. So I'm just going to trim that down because I do want it to lay flat inside. Okay. Now we're ready to put this in. Oh yeah, that's much better. Now it will lay flat. Except I still have a little bit right here in the corner. Always good to do a test run before you break out the glue. Okay. There we go. And our brace is going to hold it just fine. So to glue this, it's a pretty simple matter. All we're going to do is put glue from this area over. So from the cutout over to the edge. Line it up. And I like to stand it up to make sure that I'm following the bottom. Give that just a moment to dry. And then I can just fold back that area and glue this. Again, I'm going to stand it up here. Make sure it's at the bottom. And there we have our cute little U-fold. Cute, cute, cute. Hi, Roz. Hi, Anne. Thanks, ladies, for joining. All right. Now we get to put the final pieces on. So I'll pull that out. And you may find that your flap actually pops up. And the reason for that is that you are going to want to pop it up so that you can fold it and it will fit inside an A2 envelope. But after you've done that several times, you may find that your flap just kind of pops up on its own. No worries. We're going to take a little strip, and to me this, oops, sorry about that, guys. To me this kind of looked a little bit like the rhino could be standing on stumps or something. But we're going to pop this up on dimensionals, and that will hold our flap down. It will prevent it from just popping up randomly. You don't need a lot. I'm just going to put one on either end. So one there and one there. And then decide where you want it. We make sure that the flap is all the way down. I'm going to have this right in the center, so I didn't put a dimensional in the middle, making it easier for me to hold on to. And I'm going to butt it right down towards the bottom, because that way my flap is going to catch on it. And I actually have to, if you see I'm pushing on it, I actually have to bend that back now to lift my flap up. So that way I know that that flap is going to stay secure. Time for our little rhino to go on there. And he is going to sit just over the little brace that I put on there. So I definitely want to use dimensionals on him as well. So I'll do my upper corners, my sides, because I definitely don't want him buckling, and then the very bottom. Oops, come here, you. There we go. And we are almost done with this. This is a quick one to do. Once you get the pieces cut out, and I did color the rhino ahead of time just because you guys have seen me color, and that would have taken more time than we have tonight. All right, so I'm just gonna, don't stick. Want to make sure I get him down far enough. Come on, let go my ego. There we go. Because I do want a little bit of a border at the top. Just like that. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, that's so cute. All right, but we still have a little bit more to do. Obviously, we need a sentiment. I love that wild about you, so I think we're going to put it right about there. And then I thought it would be nice to have a few of the die cut leaves on there, just kind of peeking out. Makes it look very lacy with one of the plumeria flowers. And I colored that one in So Saffron, so I thought it went really well with the color scheme. Okay, so let me glue these down. And the leaves, I want them hanging off into the center, just because I like the way it looks like you are looking through the trees. So I'm not going to put any glue on this side. I'm just putting a dab here and there where I have room. And now I can position it. And this one I think we'll do right there. Come back here, you. There we go. Like that. And then for this one, I think we'll put it coming along right about like that. So on this one, I'm only going to do the very bottom. Just enough to where I know it's not going to come flying off. So we'll angle that right about there. Come on, stick to that, not my fingers. I got glue all over my fingers. All right, last for this is our frangipani, or our plumeria flower. I am going to pop that up on a dimensional. I just love the shadows that that creates. One should be plenty. Let me pick this up so I can kind of see where I'm going to put it. Right there, I think. And then we need to put our Wild About You. And I'm going to pop that one up on dimensionals as well. So I'm going to put one at the bottom. Right there. and one over on this side. Right there. Hi, Deb. Thanks so much for joining tonight. It's great to see so many faces. All right, and then I'll just decide. I'm going to put it right there. And guess what, gang? That is our bench fold card. Very easy to do. You can put even more embellishments if you like. I certainly could have put a mat behind my rhino, but with the pattern of the leaves I put there, I really didn't feel it was necessary. And I also didn't want the bulk. Can I still fold this flat? And the answer to the question is, if I get that up there, absolutely. Folds perfectly flat. Well, except you do have your dimensionals, but it folds flat for mailing. So very, very easy card to do. Just make sure when you put your flap down that you are tucking it underneath that little brace that you made. All right, well, that is the card for tonight. Thank you, Roz. I really liked it too. I was hoping Karen would pop on so I could thank her for having me show this one, because I just enjoyed it. And as soon as I made my mock-up of just the base, the ideas just started pouring in. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining tonight. If you need any supplies, please remember that you can go out to my blog, which is cardsbywinnie.wordpress.com. It'll take you right to my shop. I will be uploading this video to my blog, and it will have all of the supplies that I used. But I think once you start playing around with it, you're going to get a lot of great ideas on your own. And do pop me a comment. Give me a suggestion. This was just too much fun, and I never would have gone there if it hadn't been for Karen suggesting it to me. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and close out the video for tonight. I will see you guys, for those of you who join my Saturday series, I'll see you Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye, everyone.